So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy Ellen. I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute now. Check this out, bro. Inside, first of all, $100 million mansion. $100 million mansion. What isn't in this mansion? For $100 mil? We're about to go or check out a video that's going to possibly take us inside, because you never know what you're going to get. So I preface that with possibly. Take us inside Eminem's $100 million mansion. Now, this video was shot or this video was put out in 2020. So he might have since moved since then. So this stuff that they showing us might possibly not be his home at the time. You know what I mean? And the video could have been older than that, where they got this information from. So we never know. So we can't take all of this information as completely concrete. Now, $100 million mansion for Eminem. Yeah. Because whether you believe it or not, Eminem did some pretty extraordinary things when he came out into the music world. You know what I mean? And he still is a name that is still sought after these days. If you paid attention to the Drink Champs interview, Game was talking about Eminem, and the videos that transpired from that, everybody was talking about what Game saying he has a diss track from Eminem. So Eminem, though his music may not come out as often as it used to, you know what I mean? He's more seasoned now, so he don't have to put out so many projects as often. But you better believe, if he even mentions the mere mention of him dropping or releasing some music sends the algos crazy. Straight up. It's not too many artists that can do that. You know what I mean? It's not too many artists to do that. So whether or not he's amassed a lot of wealth, I don't know. But if somebody asked me to bet on, I would bet that he has. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Detroit native has in this $100 million mansion. All right. So if you're new to the channel, man, hit the subscribe button, join the fam. And once you do that, moment of silence for the haters. That's enough. Now run the likes up. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Here we go.
With over 20 years in the entertainment business and hundreds of millions of records sold, Eminem is an undeniable industry powerhouse. And his bank balance agrees. Despite edging toward a net worth of $250 million, Marshall Mathers doesn't splurge like your average A-lister. He hasn't pampered himself with private islands or forked out for exclusive Manhattan penthouses. Slim prefers to keep it simple and stay true.
I expect that from him. He doesn't come off as the extravagant type. That's what made this all the more interesting to me, because he would be the last person I would think that would have an elaborate $100 million mansion. So whether or not this is true still remains to be seen to me, because Eminem, of who we know him to be, you know, more of a reserve, not reserve as in his lyrics. No, that's never the case. I mean, keep to himself, not be all out in the public. You know what I'm saying? Not in these clubs all the time, popping these bottles with money, stacks of money in front of him. You have never really seen that from him. Even when you see him in person, not the typical rapper with all the gold chains and this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? So that's what made this interesting.
To his hometown, Detroit, where he lives a little more under the radar. How did the rapper make all his money? How does he spend it? And what's life like inside the Eminem household? Let's find out. The majority of famous faces, be them movie stars, pop stars, or entertainment personalities, typically make the move over to Los Angeles and buy themselves a snazzy mansion up in the Hollywood Hills.
What's the favorite place everybody moves to? Calabasas? Everybody wants to be in the Hollywood Hills.
Well, Eminem isn't like most celebrities, and if you're familiar with his ever-divisive music and intriguing topsy-turvy backstory, then you'll know exactly what we mean. Though he was born in St. Joseph, Missouri in 1972, Eminem spent most of his childhood growing up in Michigan, in, yup, we all know it, Detroit. This is where he got his big break in the rap world. This is where the inspiration comes from for countless record-breaking songs, and this is where M's chosen to buy his properties and put down roots, even through adulthood and fame. The multiple award-winning artist has owned 2 sizable pads in the Motor City over the last couple of decades. What do you say? Shall we take an exclusive look? It's not every day you get to experience the inner sanctum of a celebrity. Eminem's most extravagant property sits over in the upper-class suburb of Rochester Hills. Rochester Hills is considered one of...
It's always crazy to me, like, when people know exactly, like, where this big-time celebrity lives at. I'm like, wow, how y'all just gain access to that person's, you know what I mean, whereabouts like that?
Extravagant property sits over in the upper-class suburb of Rochester Hills. Rochester Hills is considered one of the safest cities in the state, a stark contrast from his youth where he and his mother hopped around areas often riddled with violence. The compound is heavily secure and therefore perfect for someone with such a high level of notoriety. Sprawling 17,000...
That's first and foremost. You've heard how many times Chris Brown's house been broken into? By estranged fans? These women that just popped up in his crib. Like, safety has got to be very, very first for me. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm saying I'm making that $1 billion, bro. And when I do, you know, I don't know if I can do this purchase, but I may try it. Who knows? I never know. You never know until you get there. But anyway, y'all probably like, yeah, we don't see you in that. But you're probably right. Well, who knows? But safety has got to be number one, bro. You know what I mean? People be copping over your gates. People be doing different things to these celebrities. And I'll be like, yo, these fools is crazy out here.
Therefore perfect for someone with such a high level of notoriety. Sprawling 17,500 square feet, Eminem's home on Winkler offers up a list of features extravagant enough to make anyone jealous. The home includes 6 bedrooms and 9.5 bathrooms, and each bedroom is a suite fit for a king. Don't believe us? Just take a look for yourself. Even the multi-$1,000 entranceway with its wooden design is spectacular.
There's got to be old pictures of it. I would imagine he's since renovated that. Or is this video even true now at this point? I'm just saying, I just don't see this. It could be, and I could be judging it all wrong. You know what I mean? It's just, this must be before he moved in it, the pictures that they had, because of course he probably not gonna let you get pictures of the inside. No more of MTV Cribs, so unfortunately you can't see.
Even the multi-$1,000 entranceway with its wooden design is spectacular. As we move from inside to the outside, the experience gets even better. This stunning swimming pool, worth tens of thousands of dollars alone, is equipped with a twisting slide and a flowing waterfall. Plus, there's a spa, tennis and basketball court, cabana, and a private pond. Notably, the home has a dedicated spot for security, listing a so-called guardhouse as an extra selling point. On top of that,
Wait. Wasn't he just involved in a situation? Or not just, I mean, within the past year or two, he was in some type of situation. Oh, I can't remember. I know one of y'all know. Y'all be keeping up with it and be on it. But wasn't he where he had somebody break into his home? I'm going to look that up when this is over with. I'm gonna definitely look that up when this is over with.
There's a nearly 4,000 square foot garage perfect for storing all of his lavish supercars, but we'll get to those a little later. The huge property is also known as the Kmart Mansion, not because it's furnished with Kmart goodies, but because its former owner was Charles Conaway, the company's former chairman. Oh, and did we forget to mention that there's an entire guest house on the property with its own game room as well? Sitting on land that spans 5.69 manicured acres, or almost 250,000 square feet. There was plenty.
That makes sense too, because in that video he was seen playing what's his favorite, like I think like Pac-Man. He was seen playing Pac-Man, and they was talking about it in one of the videos I seen. Yep, that makes sense.
More room to play with if Eminem wanted to add a few extra finishing touches. Unfortunately, he no longer has that chance. He signed on the dotted line back in 2003 for $4.8 million, around $5.6 million by today's standards, and held onto it for the better part of 15 years. But in August of 2017, he listed the house for sale, with a price of just under $2 million. Why he slashed the asking price by such a significant margin is still uncertain. Around the same time that M went out and purchased the Rochester Hills pad, he acquired another Detroit mansion. The home at 19766 Westchester Drive was built in 1996. and boasts over 8,900 square feet of space. And it became Marshall's for a hefty fee of $1,483,500. Visitors approach the mostly brick mansion via a large driveway and are met with a subtle yet eye-catching few $1,000 fountain upon arrival. At the time of its purchase, he was still married to his now ex-wife, Kimberly Scott. Sure, $1.5 million is expensive for the area, but these kinds of properties in places like LA or New York could easily be worth 10 times as much. Even though the rapper owned the nearby Rochester Hills home, which was larger, he tended to spend the majority of his time here. As of February of 2019, Zillow estimated the value of Eminem's Clinton Township home at just under $1.8 million. It's certainly a step up from the comparatively cramped spaces in which he spent his earlier years. If you're a fan of Eminem, then you've surely seen the 8 Mile movie. Did you know that it's named after 8 Mile Road, near which the budding young lyricist grew up? South of 8 Mile Road, at 19946 Dresden Street in the suburb of Greenbrier, you'll find Slim Shady's childhood home. Compared to the colossal mansion.
Now, I would be surprised if they don't say, like, he bought that. Now, whether he bought it and just kept it just as just a reminder to himself of, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, this is where it all started. I remember these memories, you know, just so every now and again you can step in there and just feel that and embrace that. You know, some people do that. I wouldn't be surprised if he bought it and gave it to a family in need. People do that as well. You know what I mean? I'd be pleasantly surprised if he doesn't have or didn't at one point own this place for a little minute just to, you know what I mean, have that. You know, there's certain things in life you want to do, you know, but some young boys grow up to want to be able to purchase homes for their parents. And then if they can't do that, maybe purchase the home that they once lived in just for nostalgic purposes and stuff like that. That's always in your mind.
Mansions that we've already seen, this small, wooden, 767 square foot single-family home isn't much to gloat about. Public records show that Eminem's mother purchased the house for $19,900 in 1987, and it wasn't worth more than $30,000 or $40,000 by the mid-2010s. While Eminem doesn't own it, and hasn't lived within its walls for years, it remains a significant piece of his history, and is also considered a significant piece of Eminem memorabilia.
I'm surprised he didn't own it not once. And you heard how much the price was when she bought it, fam? Imagine.
Divisive rapper has clearly managed to turn it around since his time on Dresden Street. These days, his trophy room alone, jam-packed with Grammys, MTV Awards, and even an Oscar, would rival his entire childhood home in terms of size. It wasn't just hard for Eminem in the early days, it was hard for his family too, especially his daughter Haley, who grew up witnessing her parents' tumultuous relationship. Fast forward to today, and Haley is thriving. She's no longer living under someone else's roof, and has acquired her very own.
I don't even know if that's her. Remember they had like the person that came out and everybody thought that was Haley. So now when I see supposed pictures of Haley, I'll be like, I don't know if that's her or not. I don't know. You're not going to get me again. You got me that one time when everybody was thinking, oh, that's Haley. We hadn't seen her. You know, we've just always heard about her and him rap about her and seen the baby pictures, but you never really saw Haley. So I'm not buying this one. Maybe that's her. Maybe that's not. It had an at the bottom, like that was possibly her social media handle, but I don't know. Maybe y'all know.
Own 4-bedroom house in Detroit, which she shares with her adorable Shiba Inu pup named Lottie. When Haley was asked if she sees her father often and if he's supportive, she said, quote, "Of course, we are very close. Whether or not he's the one who paid for her house, though, remains unclear." Hold up, let's rewind for a second. How did this lonely kid that was bullied in school transition into a world-famous artist free to buy any mansion he pleases? His first album, called Infinite, only sold 1,000 copies, but he kept making music, eventually gaining attention after finishing in second place at the 1997 Rap Olympics in Los Angeles. From there, he caught the eye of Dr. Dre, and the rest is history. Fast forward to today, and Eminem has established himself as one of the most commercially successful rappers of all time, with over 100 million albums sold worldwide. That equates to pockets that are over $210 million deep. A lot of this money goes back into his business, Shady Records, which rents its headquarters out in New York, while other portions of his wealth go to all kinds of lavish purchases. M grew up reading comics, and before he found his passion for music, he dreamed of being a comic book artist himself. While that career path didn't exactly work out, the love for the art never faded. Wherever he goes, Eminem expects his staff to ensure that there are always plenty of comic books on hand to keep him busy during his travels. It's believed that he has spent around $16,000 on retro arcade games like Donkey Kong and Space Invaders, and far more on traditional limited edition comic books. According to one of the guys Eminem works with at Shady Records, the rapper's most valuable comic is Amazing Fantasy number 15, in which Peter Parker and Spider-Man make their first appearance.
See, I never got into the whole comic book thing, bro. I don't know. That was just something that I guess invaded, like it just eluded me. I don't know. I never got into it, but I've always heard of the value in them. And it only makes sense that Eminem has some that he probably has in pristine condition that are probably valued more than probably some of our vehicles, homes. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing I knew about comics. I never got into the whole sit around, read. It's just nothing that I never got a chance to do.
Good condition, these are worth from $500,000 to upwards of $1 million.
Well, that answers my question right there. Yeah, more than most of our homes. Majority of homes. Wow.
To call Slim Shady a fashionista, well, that'd be just flat out wrong. While he has sported the tux on the odd occasion, for the most part, this rapper is seen in baggy sweats, oversized hoodies, and comfy kicks. But there is one accessory that M's not afraid to throw a little bit of money at, his wristwear. Preferring to keep his watches clean and classic, he's been snapped wearing various Rolexes and an odd assortment of G-Shocks throughout his career. His first Rolex was no spur-of-the-moment purchase. It was a self-reward for all his hard work. And before he splurged thousands of dollars, he had the responsible foresight to call up his manager to make sure that he could actually afford it. Since then, his collection has grown tenfold, with a yellow gold Audemars Piguet Royal Oak piece.
Now, the thing I've heard about these watches is that these watches, you can make money off of them. They go up in value. That's what I heard. So don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you what I heard. So I got to find a video on watches so we can get information on that. But I've heard some of those timepieces, bro, like they go up with value. If you have the proper paperwork and information and stuff on them at the time of purchase, and you keep that stuff and you can prove that it's this and it was this when you bought it, I heard you can make some bank off these watches.
Worth over $40,000, becoming a recent accessory of choice. In several publicity photo shoots, he has sported a Rolex Datejust, which can fetch tens of thousands of dollars, as well as the luxurious Rolex President Day Date, which is also around the $30,000 to $40,000 mark. With so much money to burn, it makes sense that rumors have flooded in over the years suggesting that the legendary rapper owns his personal private jet. It wouldn't be much of a surprise. A lot of rappers, some of whom are far less famous and have far shallower pockets, have their own personal wings. Champagne...
No, not all of them. Drake is different. We're not talking about Drake, but not majority of them. And these rappers that y'all do see on these private planes shouldn't be on these private planes yet. You know what I mean? They need a lot more in the game to be on these private planes, wasting their money just showing out for the gram, because that's what a lot of it is boasting for the gram. They're not using it for a tax write-off or something like that, and haven't figured that whole part of the game out yet. So a lot of them are doing it wrong.
Are far less famous and have far shallower pockets, have their own personal wings. Champagne Pappy, Diddy, Nicki Minaj, and Snoop Dogg.
Champagne Pappy?
Just to name a few. Despite his industry peers choosing to own, Eminem takes a different approach. Renting. The reality is that owning a depreciating asset isn't always the smartest financial decision. And what's the use of having a multi-million-dollar metal bird sitting in the backyard most of the time unused? Slim just charters a private plane whenever the need arises. For a low-cost private jet service, expect to shell out between $1,300 and $3,000 per flying hour. For the more lavish, jam-packed with all the amenities you can imagine, the bill can easily exceed 10 grand. While there may not be any personal jets in the garage, the list of out-of-this-world hypercars in his collection is enough to make any petrol head's jaw drop. Over his tenure at the top of the charts, Slim Shady's been spotted cruising around in everything from a $400,000 Lamborghini Aventador to a nearly $200,000 Porsche 911 GT3 RS. Throw in the Ferrari 430 Scuderia, McLaren NP412...
Is it Aventador or Aventador? My bad. Am I just being picky at this point?
GT3 RS. Throw in the Ferrari 430 Scuderia, McLaren MP412C, and the Audi R8 Spider, each valued between $150 and $350K, and you start to get a better understanding of the kind of extravagance that once
At them prices, bro, you can name it whatever you want it to be, fam. Like, whew.
in the Rochester Mansion's 4,000 square foot garage. Those exotic supercars are the perfect partners to the many workhorse vehicles he owns, like the Cadillac Escalade and the Hummer H2. Based on this photo, however, his pride and joy is the Dodge Super B. The company produced these old school cars from 1968 until 1971, and then brought them back decades later in 2007. Bet your bottom dollar that the one in Eminem's collection is a 1970 classic. If you woke up tomorrow rich and famous, would you stay in your own hometown like Eminem did, or would you move somewhere else? If so, where? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and
Yeah, I gotta move. You hit it big like Eminem, you gotta move, bro, because that's what happens to a lot of those rappers, man. Unfortunately, you know, you'd be somewhere saying RIP to them because they didn't get out of their own home. They thought they could be around their own hoods all the time. And somebody who's jealous and envious of you, everybody's not for your success. And a lot of time it's those jealous ones that end up taking them out. So for me, yeah, I would have to get out of there. I would definitely have to get out of my hometown. For real. And not everybody needs that access to you anyway. But that's a conversation for another day. You know what I mean? So y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about this video inside Eminem's $100 million mansion. All right? It's your boy L. Stick around and stay tuned, man. Until the next one, I'm gone. Peace.